So education is something that I really care about, and I'm from a working background. Like, I was working with corporate, and then I had to resign my job, and I'm currently doing another full master's program because I value it so much, and I really believe that it is something that ignites the curiosity within us, and it needs the best sort of experience and the exposure that we students deserve. So it kind of clicked, and I'm a student representative for my cohort, and I do attend meetings on regular basis with the course directors, and I do make huge demands with them, as in, like, in my previous meeting I had demanded for a lab session for my entire cohort, and I'm trying to push hard for the best experience for my cohort. So I genuinely thought that this is a good opportunity for me to kind of do it for the entire Burbank.
Let's go. So to really fight for what's needed, I've been involved in residential community actions, and it just made sense, you know, coming through the COVID, a bit of hardship, a bit of despondency, and I ended up walking the Mayor of Newham round our area just to show what's needed for support. What else? I suppose it's a challenging role, and I've got my finger on the pulse, to be honest, with organising, and I reckon students can reflect of some of my past experiences, and I've got quite a lot to give, loads of energy. I don't want to give up the fight. I did Taekwondo, a former British champion, and I just love, I suppose, going for what I know is good, what I know is true, and what I know I can handle as well.
The first question is, why did I run for the role of education student leader? The reason for this is because without being part of a student union, I've helped in 2 occasions to get 1 question removed from the assessment when we weren't taught the topics for it due to the teacher strikes. And I got really good feedback from my peers, and this was really inspiring. In another occasion, I also helped an exam date being pushed forward when it was due to start just a couple of days after the essay was due for the same module. So yeah, it was very stressful times, and a lot of students were unhappy about this, but I managed to get this pushback, and all the feedback was again great. So I think, yeah, this was an inspiration to run. As I said, I did this without being part of the student union. And I think that if you guys were to vote for me, then I could make similar things happen for everyone across all departments, because I'd have more time to devote for this kind of things. And in summary, I'm running because I enjoy making a positive impact in students' lives.
Hi, my name is George Okungbowa, MSc Political Communication in the Department of Politics, and I'm running for the Education Student Leader position in the Burbank Student Union forthcoming elections. Why did I decide to run for this role? I am running for the Education Student Leader position because I believe I have the passion, I have the capacity, and I have the experience to lead the union at this time, and to enable me realize all the objectives I've set out in my manifesto. So you want purposeful leadership, you want innovative leadership, you want experience both in the running of union and from corporate work experience. I am that candidate that possesses all the qualities that is needed to succeed in the union position. Thank you.
I'm running for the role of education student leader because I believe through education we can create the best life possible. That's why I also completed my teaching degree.
So my top 3 priorities would be I think the curiosity is the main factor that drives students. So for example, if a particular student wants to know more about another module or another course or a session, then that person has to be allowed, as in that resource has to be made available. We live in the age of information, so I think the university must offer them the extra course, or it can be a career related event. For example, a lot of peers are interested in clinical psychology or organizational psychology or different domains. So you'll have someone who's interested in blockchain, whether they are into finance. So you need to cater their interest, like with industry experts. So a career event. And apart from that, I would say students mitigating circumstances, because what I see is that there's a general thing about mitigating circumstances for the home students and the international students, and they do vary, so it has to be a different category.
Top 3 priorities. Let's just see. Okay, so I'm just going to look down here for a second. Supposedly, the first thing is a show of solidarity for, I suppose, our lecturers, our staff in the university. I think it's really important that we don't vilify them for standing up for their rights, which leaks onto ourselves. So that's the first point of interest. What else? I suppose getting in touch with the UCU organisers. I've already started making tracks with that, so getting in touch with the law department, that's enabled me to make some contacts with UCU members. What's the other thing? Also, I go to the library a lot. I see a lot of people in the library. Sometimes I want to work later. It's a bugbear because we're an evening university, so I would like to increase by 1 hour, if possible, the library opening times. What else? One other thing. Oh yeah, and the rest after lectures. Because I reckon if everybody could have just like a chill room, like after lectures, it would be, I suppose, mentally, it just calm us down a bit. So that's the third thing I would go for or prioritize.
The second question is, if I were elected, what would be my top 3 priorities? Firstly, I would work really hard to mitigate the impact that the strike has had in past on students and potentially in the future if these strikes don't stop. So it would definitely be to do with the strikes. My second priority would be to ensure that students are getting enough feedback for their assessments. A common thing in Birkbeck can be that the feedback is very limited. So we don't know what we could do more of or less of. And if we don't know, we just can't fulfill our full potential. So I would definitely address this issue. Thirdly, it would be to do with the timetables, because I'm not the only one that has suffered from this, but sometimes you have one lecture in one building and then a different lecture straight after in a different building, and it doesn't take a couple of minutes to get there. It takes, it's quite a walk. So I would like to prevent these kind of things with a better structure of timetables that are fair enough for everyone, including anyone who has any mobility issues or things like that. So that's going to be my third priority.
If you elect me as the education student leader, the 3 priority areas I will focus on are very simple and clear. Firstly, we consolidate on the gains and success achieved by the 2021-2022 leadership. I've carefully read through the impact reports as released, and I am impressed with some of the achievements, and there is need for consolidation. And like I earlier said, I have the capacity, I have the experience, and I have what it takes to take the union to the next level, to meet, to attain the next set of goals that has been that we better student experience here at Birkbeck. So, secondly, I want to bridge the gap between in terms of equality and diversity, the shortcomings that are inherently visible, especially also based on my experience. I want to bridge that gap. And finally, I want to improve student engagement and participation, both in university affairs and in student union activities. I have what it takes to make this happen, and that's why you have to elect me. Thank you.
The top 3 priorities when elected are, for me, to support immigrants, refugees, and BAME students, specifically Black girls.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Priority is really important, and for example, if you're a management student, I think you would have learned this. There's something called Eisenhower matrix. So you can delegate some tasks which you can. You must do some tasks that is like you can't negotiate, and there are some tasks that you can plan it later. For example, creating experience of the learning content can be something is a time consuming process, and you need a lot of input. So that is something can be planned over a month, whereas a student who's critically writing or mitigating circumstances to make sure that he or she doesn't lose the 10% capping needs to be addressed immediately. So you have to prioritize on that basis.
Well, it's a case of, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So what I'm intended to do is forming a strategy. I'm going to look at this because I'm a bit nervous. Forming a strategy with the department heads, with research undertaken with the students as well, so that we can make really informed decisions rather than just, oh, I've got an idea, let's just go for it. So being a course rep for my course, what else? Making meaningful links. That means links that matter to make a difference. Okay, so what else? Bear with me because I'm a bit nervous. I can also, like I said previously, draw my existing experience with organising with Newham Borough. So those, I suppose, methods I would use to, I suppose, solidify whatever's required of me in the position.
The third question is, how will I balance all the priorities and deliver substantial wins for students? So I definitely will have a lot more time to work on students' needs because I'm coming close to my graduation, and I have a few ad hoc responsibilities apart from that, but I will definitely manage to fit everything in and work for students so that everybody gets what they need and deserve as paying students. I've also already been delivering substantial wins for students, and yeah, I'll just continue to do that. It feels amazing when my work is appreciated and actually makes a difference in people's lives. Like what happened with the exam being pushed forward and questions being taken off from assessments. So it really helped me because I was in the class, and it helped all my peers, and we were all so happy about that. So definitely continue to do the same thing, and even more now if I get elected, because I will have a lot more time to devote just on these kind of things for students.
To balance the priorities to enable me attain substantial wins for students, all I need to do is use my collaborative skills, my teaming spirit. And so I'll collaborate with my other elected leaders, other student representatives, and every other stakeholders at Beck to push forward my agenda, because there is power in collaboration. Teaming means together each achieve more. So we put our ideas together, we will engage, and we will push forward with one strong voice. And I believe using that approach, we will be able to achieve great success in our set priorities. Like I said, I have the experience, and so leading other, taking the front seat in leading other leaders and representatives will be an easy task. And if you want somebody that gets the job done, George Okungbowa is that person. Thank you.
And I would balance all the priorities by having a balanced work-life schedule, and I can do that through my flexible work as a carer as well. So that's how I would be able to focus on winning on student matters concerning education.
I think bringing students' voice together is the biggest challenge, because not a lot of students are aware about these elections. They are aware, but it's just they think it's not that significant. But on the other side, they do have some challenges, but only if they come along and say, hey, I need this thing, I need this help, what if this has been implemented as a part of the curriculum, or this is done. So bringing students together is one of a major hurdle, because when you look at the survey results, I looked at the survey results and they were like 20% completion. So you need to have at least 50 to 60% completion in surveys to make sure that you can pretty much implement something meaningful to the next set of students. So bringing students together is a hurdle.
Okay, the biggest challenge I think right now, it's the cost of living and the repercussions of the cost of living. It's not a joke. The whole reason for these strikes is because of the cost of living. And that will bring hardship. Things have gone up 10%. So that's like, you know, it's significant. It adds on to rent, it adds on to food. So students' pockets who haven't got, you know, the bank of really rich mummy and daddy, they're going to be at a little bit having against it. So I suppose that challenge itself, addressing that, looking at ways where possibly we can get the university, from all the cuts that they've made, siphon some of that into hardship funds to actually to basically give, you know, I suppose financially weaker students from the crisis a better leg up, basically. So yeah.
The next question is, what is the biggest challenge facing students in education, and how do I plan to work towards resolving it? So in terms of this question, I don't really want to assume what the challenges are for the students, because I think each student is going to have a different challenge, you know, for them at a given time. And I want to be the kind of leader that is actually there to listen to the individual needs of the students. So I want to be available so you can contact me and let me know what you need, and I can, with the help of everyone in the student union and people at Birkbeck, then definitely help out.
For me, the biggest challenge facing students in education or in academics is the issue of financing their education. A lot of students, or more often than not, students combine studies with working, and in order to be able to meet the financial demands of education and their livelihood. This is compounded by the current cost of living crisis, and you know, we have different facets of students. We have international students from outside the EU EEA area. We have international students from the EU, and these don't enjoy the same privileges. For instance, international students from outside the EU does not have access to student loans and bursaries, and these compound the financial difficulties they would face. So we will look at how to expand the ways to support these categories of students, to lighten the burden so as to give them more time to be able to dedicate this to their studies and improve their overall learning experience. So that's it. We will engage management to ensure that this is realized.
The biggest challenge students face at the moment is representation, and I would do my best in inspiring students to become student reps, for example.
Yeah, that is a real tough factor because we must respect the strike, because it has its own cause and it has its own sort of issues. So I think a lot of students are aware about it, but I'm not sure if everybody is kind of supporting or not supporting. And for example, my module was not affected by any of those strikes. So there is a factor which is like some people will be affected more than the other. So you need to have a survey which should be given to those modules which got affected. Like for example, it can be in the biology or it can be in the computer science department, and then they can possibly talk about extending some deadlines or giving them drop-in sessions to clarify any doubts.
So there's a number of societies around, so I suppose informing, so something like a teacher, because I mean, to upskill ourselves to understand the problem, to as a repercussion, I suppose, let us know so that we can feed back to people in the university who can make a difference. So whether it's governors, whether it's managers, it just makes sense to be able to talk to the right people who can make change. With myself, I'm a qualified personal trainer, so a lot of things are to do with physical and mental health. So one of the things I'm looking to do is encourage physical health for mental health, just to get us through the hard times, because these are hard times. We've got a war on. We're making ourselves happy, and we're making ourselves find answers and solutions through a fabulous establishment, Birkbeck University. We've got a grand student union, so why not use that to, I suppose, collectivize ourselves, make us a bit more buoyant, make us a bit more savvy upstairs, and basically each one teach one. So yeah.
The fifth question is, union strikes are having a large impact on students' academic experience. How do I plan to support students through this period? So this is the main thing that I will focus on, as I've said, because for years strikes have been depriving us from learning that we are paying for. So we're paying for this learning and we're not getting it. And also we're being assessed on things that we are not taught in some occasions. So my job would be to make sure that if we've been given bad grades because we have been assessed on things that we haven't been taught, that this can be mitigated. And also if the strikes don't stop, I'll make sure that we are not assessed on things that we are not taught. Because at the end of the day, we are paying to be taught certain things, and it's incredibly frustrating and unfair that, we're losing grades and we just don't get to learn things that we are paying to learn. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to vote for me for your education student leader. I'm Ellie Rivera. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there is no doubt that the union strikes have impacted the study experience of students in terms of learning, and this is there's not much one can do to control it. We only hope that the issues surrounding the industrial actions are resolved. However, that does not mean that nothing at all can be done to lessen the impact on students. For me, if you elect me, because like I said, I'm experienced, and this is where experience comes to bear, we will organize tutorials under my leadership. I will engage the institution, the administrators and management and other stakeholders to see how tutorials can be institutionalized. We will engage students to lead tutorial sessions for classes that they have the capacity to do so. For MSc students, upper class students, we can support the other learners to catch up with studies, with the support of management and the student union. So these are some ways we can support students to overcome the impact of the strike on their learning. Thank you.
And union strikes are having an effect on students. And I think if we go more into online teaching and improve that tool, that can help students.